Welcome to this first episode in this tutorial series where I will be teaching Laravel Livewire 3 from scratch. My name is William Juma. In this tutorial series we go through in-depth look of every feature of Livewire 3, and as a prerequisite you're required to at least have some knowledge of Laravel framework. If you know nothing about Livewire, do not worry, as I will take your skills towards the expert level. At the end of this course, we will build 5 simple web applications to give you an opportunity to practice on the skills that you would have gained in the course of this tutorial. So let us go ahead and look at what Livewire is. Livewire is a full stack framework that enables us to build powerful, interactive, and dynamic user interfaces in Laravel PHP without leaving Laravel. Compared to JavaScript frameworks, Livewire lifts the burden of building the front end and then the back end, and afterwards struggle to make the two communicate. The latest version, as of the time of creating this tutorial series, is Livewire 3, which has been immensely improved. Let us look at how to install Livewire 3 in a Laravel application. But actually, I want us to go ahead and install Laravel, and then on top of that, we will also be able to install Livewire. So I would like to go to local disk C in my machine, open a folder called XAMPP, go to htdocs, and then I would like to use git bash, and I'm going to write a command that will enable us to install Laravel and then also install Livewire. But remember, for you to be able to work with Livewire 3, you must ensure that you have PHP 8.1 installed and Laravel 10. So those are the prerequisites that are required. So let us go ahead and install Laravel. We are going to run the command composer, create project Laravel /Laravel, and then the name of our project. And in this case, I would like to call our project Livewire 3 from scratch, like that. So I'm just using the initials L3FS, and then I'm going to click enter. That command will install for us Laravel. I'm going to pause this video temporarily until we finish the installation of Laravel. Our Laravel application has completed installing, and now I would like us to hop into that directory. So I'm going to type cd, and then we will write the name of our folder. So L3FS Livewire from scratch, and then I'm going to clear terminal. And then after that, the next thing I would like us to do is to install Livewire, and we are just going to use the command composer require Livewire /Livewire, like that. And when I press enter, a fresh installation of Livewire 3 will be installed in our Laravel application. I'm going to pause temporarily. Livewire does not require any further configuration. After installing it, we can be able to use it. But if you require to do some modification of the Livewire configuration files, you can be able to publish the config files, and that you can be able to just run the command php. Let me just clear terminal here. You can run the command php artisan livewire publish --config if you would like to modify the configuration file to your liking. But in this case, there's really no need for us to do that because Livewire is actually 0 config. We do not require to configure anything after just installing it. So I'm going to delete this, and then I would like to open our project in VS Code. Now our Livewire application is ready for us to use, and I would just like to give you a sneak peek into into the power of Livewire by creating a simple counter app, and then from there we will be able to build going on forwards. So let me just run a command which we usually use to create a Livewire component. So what we are going to do, I'm going to open terminal, and inside here, if we want to create a Livewire component, we are going to run the command php artisan make and then Livewire, and then now the name of what it is that we would like to create. So in this case, I can write counter like that, and when I click enter, this is going to create for us two files. One of them is a Livewire class, and the other one is a blade file, but that has Livewire components. So in other words, the blade file that is loaded by the Livewire class. So basically you can see we have created a component. Now if we go to app Livewire, we have a component called counter. If I open it, as you can see, we have namespaced and we are using Livewire component. And then from there, we are rendering a view. So this public function render is the one that just brings for us a view that is called counter. But remember, this render can be there, or you can also remove it. It's not a must for it to be here. But for now, let us leave it, and then with the time, I can be able to remove it such that we will see that it will have no effect. Now, when we go to our resources views, and then a folder called Livewire, we have our counter.blade. So this is going to be the blade file, or in other words, the user interface. So in other words, the front end of our component. So let us go ahead and do something about it. So now, if also you want, sometimes you might find that you want to create this file inside a folder, then what you're going to do, you will have the command like that, and then now you can say / and then maybe now the name of the file. So in this case, probably I can call this folder name or directory name, and then now counter. If you do it like this, it's going to create inside the views. We are going to have Livewire, and then we're going to have a folder called folder name. And then also in our Livewire here, in our Livewire class, we're also going to have a folder called folder name, and then we are going to have inside it counter. But since we have created it the other way around, we do not need to go into that direction. So now I want to go ahead and also create a layout file. Whenever you are rendering full page components, you require to have a layout file. Of course, there are two ways in which you can be able to use Livewire components. You can either be able to use them just inside the blade files. For example, in these resources views, we have a file called welcome.blade. Inside here, we can be able to pass Livewire components, but we must put the tags, the Livewire scripts, and then after that we can be able to use it. So now let us go ahead and create the layout file. The layout file is created by the command php artisan Livewire layout, like that. Now when we look at our views, now we have a new folder that is called components that has been created, and when we open it, we have components, then we have layout. So two folders, one inside the other, and when we open this one, we have welcome.blade. We have app.blade, and so this is our layout file. And as you can see, You can be able to create more than one layout file inside this folder. And this is how our layout file looks like. So when you look at it, we have a slot inside the body. And this slot is the one that is used to show, or in other words, where our components are injected. And then we also have the title, which in this case will hold the page title, but of course you have set the default to page title if the title is not passed. We will be able to look at each and every of these things in due time. Now here in our layout file, we can also be able to include our CSS. So either we can include the CDN link, or maybe just install and then include our CSS inside here from our installation. And you can use whichever framework that you want. You can use Tailwind, you can use Bootstrap, you can use whatever it is that you want. In this case, in the scope of this tutorial, I'm going to use Bootstrap. So I'm going to get the CDN link from getbootstrap.com, and I will copy just the CSS alone. Then I will come and paste it here in the head, maybe before the title, but it doesn't really matter as long as it's just within the head section. And this will now include Bootstrap in our layout. And then of course I want us to have a div with a class of a container, to be able to just sort of format our page somehow. Now let us go ahead and now modify our counter component. So what we're going to do is that we are going to, first of all, in fact what I should do first of all is to just maybe load this component. So let me just say, let me call right here counter like that. And every time a Livewire component must be sort of like put inside a single root element. So if it's a div, then it should be a div. If it's a form, it should be closed by a form. But you cannot be able to have a component and then have something else here, maybe have h1 here. You will have problems because it will not be accepted by Livewire. So let me remove this and then save. Now what we need to do is to create for ourselves a route that will be able to load this counter. And what we are going to do, we are going to have a route here. I want it to be a get route. So route get, let us call it counter. And now instead of loading the way we usually load the controller, we can just load our Livewire class. So we can do app Livewire and then counter class. And basically what I have done, I have gone to our app directory and then the Livewire directory, and then what we are referring to is this counter here. So we are referring it like that. We can also just remove this and maybe make whatever is that is in our route a little bit shorthand. And then instead of having it there, we bring and have it up here. So we can have use app Livewire counter like that. And then so use like that. And then now we can also have it like that. Of course, I have to close this with a semicolon. So basically right now we are able to load our counter. And I would like to just use a command that can be able to run our Laravel application. So in terminal, I'm going to open new terminal. And I'm going to run the command php artisan serve. And that will be able to run our Laravel application. And I would like to check our counter by visiting localhost /counter. And now you can see we are having text here that is called counter. I would like to go ahead and create a file, because now we are loading Bootstrap. I would like to do a little bit more, create somewhat nice UI. So here in our first div, I'm going to give it a class of card, and then we can have an offset of 3 and column 6 to just make it look nice. Inside here we can have the card header, so div class card header, like that. And we can close that div. Like that. And inside here we can just say to do maybe counter up, like that. After that, we can be able to have a class, another div with a class of card body, like that. And then we can also be able to close that div. So now inside here we can be able to have a h1. I want us to have an h1 tag, and inside this h1 I want us to just have your count is your count is, we can put full colon, and then we can state a variable called count. We have not been able to set this in the Livewire class, but we will do that in a short while. And then after that, I want us to have two buttons. So this one, maybe I can give it a class of text primary, like that. And then after that, we can have the two buttons. One will be for the incrementing, and the other one will be for decrementing. Like that. So one of them will be incrementing, and the other one we can have it as decrementing, like that. So when once clicked, we can be able to have them do different things. I want them to have a class of btn. This one you have secondary, and then this other one I would like to give it a class of btn primary, like that. Now these buttons, when we click on them, currently they have they would do nothing for us. I would like to just put a click handler, and in Livewire, if you want to react to a click action, you can use wire click, like that. And then now you can pass the method. So in this case, increment, and then we will have also wire click, and then this one will be decrement, like that. So one of them for incrementing, the other one for decrementing. Now let us go to our backend and be able to do something, and that is in our Livewire class. So I move to Livewire counter, and inside here I would like to declare a property, which will be a public property, which we are going to call it count, and we are going to set the initial value to 0, so be counting from 0. And then I want to have two methods. One of them is increment, and obviously the other one will be decrement. Now this one, when we click the button for incrementing, we can just say, we can reference, when we want to reference this public property inside our functions. If we want to reference this one, we use the directive this. Basically, as you can see, this is just PHP code. So we can say this count, and then we can say we want to increase it, just that. On the other hand, for decrementing, we can say again this $, this count minus to just decrement. So basically we have our application like that, and I would like us to try it out and see if it is working perfectly. So this is what we have. And I think I have a problem in my styling. Let me go back to the counter dot blade offset 3 column 6, I think, because it wasn't displaying nicely, because I want it to be somehow at the center like that. So when I click incrementing, now you can see the count is moving upwards, so in other words the numbers are increasing. And when I click decrement, the numbers are decreasing like that, in that way. Of course, even to the negatives, like that. I would like to do something a little bit more interesting and be able to just sort of do a little bit more with our counting. So I want us to increment only if the values are within specific limits. So maybe we want to just have the numbers, whether we are incrementing or decrementing, being fixed within maybe 0 and 5. We can be able to just have another property, public, and we can say limit, and we can say the limit is 5, just like that. And then now inside here, what we are going to do, we are going to check the limit. So in this case, we are going to, for the increment function, we are going to just check if this count is less than the limit, this limit, like that. If that is the case, I want us to continue incrementing. So I put this code inside here. And then if that is not the case, I can just write else. And here I want to just flash a message. And in this case, we can use session. The same way we just do it in Laravel. So session flash, like that. And then we can give it our session key. We can give it a status. We can call it status, and then we can put our code. So we can say if now the value is beyond our limit. So in this case, if we want to get a 6, then we should say the count is too high, like that. The count is too high. And I can be able to close this one like that. And then in our decrementing function, we can just be able to check. We do not want to go below 0, so we can say if this count is greater than 0, we want to continue decrementing it. So we can, in other words, we can decrement up until 0, but below that now it will not work. So let us just paste this code inside here. We can say else, and even here I would like us to have a session flash. I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and then what I'm going to write is that too low, so the count is too low. In this case it will make us be able to count between 0 and 5. I would like to do some modification and be able to handle our session messages inside here, and what I'm going to do is to just have the code at if session, and so we are checking the session for a key called status, and then, and you remember this is just blade directive, so end if like that, and then inside here we can have a div with a class of alert info, and then we can close that div, and then inside here we can be able to spit out, use the mustache and spit out our session status, just like that. I'm going to save this and we will give it a try. So when we refresh our application, again, of course, our count will be set to 0. So I want to click increment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it is saying the count is too high, and as you can see, we are not reaching 6. Now when we are decrementing again, now it cannot go below 0. Thank you very much for following this tutorial. This is the end of the tutorial episode. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. By doing this, you'll be notified when I upload another awesome video. If you like the video, you can give it a thumbs up and share. Thank you very much.